Hello everyone, Firemac here, and let's get right back into it. And you probably know this is most likely the fashion show episode, I'm assuming. I hope so. Here we go. Alright, it was the day of the fashion show that I caved. I rushed into my dorm room and found my stash of alcohol. It wasn't that I wanted to get drunk, it was just that I couldn't handle it. I didn't think I was going to be able to handle it. So I knew it was wrong. I knew it wasn't a good way to cope. But at the moment, with the responsibility that was suddenly thrust upon me, the alcohol emerged from the heavens as if the hand of God. I opened the can and I took my first sip. Ugh! What? This is disgusting! But I guess people don't drink it for the taste. I drank first one can, then two, and then three, and then five. I didn't know how much to drink to have an effect. I had seen people drinking before, but they all seemed to need 3 or 4 cans before they even started getting tipsy. I made it through 3 cans before I looked up and realized the room was wobbling before my face. What? I moved my head left to right, then tilted it from shoulder to shoulder. I feel, my head feels so heavy. Oh, I shouldn't be speaking this out loud. I should be thinking. I giggled, feeling very distant from the gnawing anxiety that still clawed at my stomach. I think it worked. I looked at the clock. 12:40? When was the show? 1, 2? I shook my head. I should get going. I stood and immediately fell back on the floor, giggling. I was unprepared for the amount of pressure that was going to be on my knees. Don't worry. I'll do better this time. I stood again, this time more carefully. I took a second for my head to catch up to where my body was, but when it did, my balance was fine. Yeah. To the fashion show! Somehow, someway, I made it to the theater. The back room was very dark and buzzing with people, mostly tall, beautiful Asagao students in a rainbow of high-fashion ensembles. Loud music was thumping from the main room of the theater, reverberating in my already dazed head. I looked around nervously for Jared, hoping for a few encouraging words from my boyfriend before going out on stage. Unfortunately, he was nowhere to be found. I could only assume he was too ashamed of his face to even be backstage. Ha ha! Anyway, he doesn't say ha ha. Hana, over here! Oh, that's music. Oh, I turned to see Mimi and Kakusu. Kakusu was holding up a makeup brush and smiling cheerfully while Mimi clutched a clipboard and tried to look important. You're late. I'm sorry, Before I could finish, Kakusu grabbed my hand and dragged me over to a brightly lit vanity mirror that was swimming with makeup. She applied a thick, sticky gloss to my lips that I instantly wanted to wipe off. I watched the other students behind me in the mirror. Some were practicing their walks with perfect poise. Others were cooing excitedly over each other's outfits. Everyone looked so happy and prepared. I gulped. All finished! I looked back at myself in the mirror. Kakusu had applied a tasteful, natural-looking amount of makeup to my slightly flushed face. Wow, Kakusu, it looks really good. I took care to turn my face away from her as I spoke, pretending to expect a light blush on the right side of my cheek. The last thing I needed was for Kakusu to give me an exact readout of my current blood alcohol level. Affirmative. Mimi will help you with your dress now. Alright. I stood up carefully, steadying myself on the vanity. Mimi was across the room, helping a tall brunette girl into a beautiful flowery green dress. I took a deep breath and walked over. Mimi's face crinkled at the sight of me. Alright, let's see. She looked down at the clipboard, searching for my name. Hana. Alright, here you are. She turned to a large metal clothing rack behind her. Her hand hovered over the dress before picking out a bright, glittering magenta dress. That's my dress? Mimi smirked, looking quite pleased with my reaction. Jared picked it out especially for you. He said it went with your hair. I gulped. I questioned a lot of things about Jared and our relationship, but his taste in clothing was never one of them. Alright. Now hurry up and get dressed. You're walking in 5 minutes. You want me to change here? I glanced around nervously. The room was full of people. But there was no time for shame, which Mimi made sure to emphasize with an impatient tapping of her foot. Now? I'm not sure what kind of voice I just gave her there. I pushed myself away from as many people as possible before undressing down to my underwear. Ooh, spicy. I covered myself as much as I could with one arm as I uncertainly stepped into my dress, my knees threatening to give out under me. Mimi zipped up the back and then whirled me around to face a full-length mirror. The sudden motion made my stomach churn. I stared at myself, mouth agape. The neckline plunged all the way down my chest. The dress was fitted, and the fabric bunched at my feet. It was itchy and way too long. I sucked in a deep breath. Oh yeah? And Hana? No glasses on the runway. Mimi snatched my glasses right off my face before I could react. But I can't see without my glasses! It's just a straight line. You can walk in a straight line, can't you? In my current state, that was questionable. Mimi turned back to a large rack of shoes. And since the dress is too long, you'll have to wear heels. She considered her options before selecting a silver pair of 4 inches long. Here. I took them and looked them over. But I've never walked in heels. I don't know if I even can. Tears stung my eyes. I desperately held them back, not wanting to ruin my makeup or go on stage with red, puffy eyes. Mimi's face softened for a moment, then she frowned. It's not my fault you're too damn short for your dress. She huffed and left. I sat down on the floor, careful not to ruin the dress. I pulled the shoes on and wobbled to my feet, feeling like a baby giraffe standing for the very first time. Oh God. I drew in a deep breath and steadied myself with the wall. You can do this, Hana! You can do this! You just have to focus! Who are you talking to, Hana? No one. I mean, myself. It is time for you to get in line. May I assist you? I took Akazu's arm. She led me to the edge of the stage where a line of girls and guys were waiting for their turn to walk on. Here you are, Hana. I sighed as she left. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. I clenched and unclenched my fists to try and steady the nervous tremors that crept in my fingers. I just had to walk. Well, walk and turn around, then walk again. That didn't sound so hard. I took a deep breath and concentrated my mind on Jared. If he thought I could do it, then surely I could, right? The line got shorter and shorter until finally I was next. I watched the boy in front of me step confidently onto the stage. He was dressed in a blue sequin tuxedo that lit up as soon as the bright lights of the stage hit it. I peeked out from behind the curtain, squinting against the brightness. I scanned the audience carefully. Where are you, Jared? Without my glasses, it was hard to see. Luckily, I didn't need perfect vision to spot the paper bag that I could only assume was Jared in the front row. He was sitting between 2 blurry blobs that looked like Satch and PUG. I relaxed a bit, but it was short-lived. Walk! Someone hissed at me from the shadows. I stumbled forward, my heart skipping a beat. I was suddenly bathed in a blinding light. Look, new background. Haven't seen that. Cheers erupted in the audience for who I assumed to be my and the normal Boots Club. I put one foot in front of the other, trying desperately not to make a fool of myself. As I wobbled down the runway, I glanced to where Jared was seated. He waved and gave me a thumbs up. The gesture gave me a tiny surge of confidence. It must have helped, because I made it to the end of the runway without incident. A smile crept across my face as I paused and struck what I hoped was a not completely stupid pose. Cheers rang out again. I turned around and started back. I made it about halfway. Oh God! Hiccups. I came to walk, but it happened again. Something somewhere went wrong. Distracted by my hiccups, I stepped incorrectly. Maybe my foot slipped and got caught on the dress. At some point, however, I went down. It happened in slow motion. This one was silly. The runway drew closer to my face. My hands flew out to catch myself. I squeezed my eyes shut. I fell, smashing my face against the floor. Gas flew around me like ghosts. I felt the color drain from my face. I tried to stand up and... fell again. This time on my knee. I tried to stand and fell. No matter how I tried, I could not stand again. I stared at my hands on the stage, eyes watering. My hands. My hands! I moved them out and pulled myself across the catwalk like a slinky or a snail. It was almost fun, if it weren't for everything that made it not. I made it backstage as the next girl strode out from behind the curtain. I was greeted with silence by the staff. Mimi stood by the clothes rack in the back of the room, staring at me with a sly expression. I didn't say anything. Someone lent me their arm, and I stood with quivering legs. I only realized now how little strength they had. I must have been very afraid for them to go limp on me like this. Someone led me to a chair and sat me down. I stayed there for a while, looking at my hands until... He's literally wearing a paper bag. That's hilarious. Hana, are you okay? I nodded silently. Why are you wearing Aiko's dress? I couldn't understand what he was talking about. My head was absolutely swimming from a potent mix of alcohol and embarrassment. It was obvious that that fucking bitch Mimi fucking ruined things, because Mimi's a fucking bitch. Fuck Mimi. Aiko's dress? Also, who's Aiko? Have we met her? I don't think we have. New name. Yes, that's Aiko Yoshida's dress. Who put you in that dress? All at once it hit me. I glanced over to where Mimi had been standing, but she was gone. You're telling me this isn't my dress?
No!
Aiko was way taller than you, and besides, I would never have chosen that color for you. He took my trembling hands in his, kneeling down to look me in the eyes. I turned my head away in shame, but Jared gently turned it back with a finger under my chin.
Anna?
Your dress was blue. I picked it because it perfectly matched your eyes. It was going to be the climax of the show, the most important piece of the whole collection. I thought if you wore it, maybe you could see how beautiful you are. I thought you could see yourself the way I see you. I opened my mouth to tell him what Mimi did, but then shook my head. Mimi may have tried to sabotage me, but I knew that my own poor decision was ultimately the reason I fell on stage. I had to be honest with him. I needed to come clean. Jared, I'm drunk. He blinked at me. God, that explains... Why are you drunk? I didn't know you drank. I don't. I was just so scared, so I wanted to have a little, but then I think I had too much. How much did you drink? 3 cans. Hana, you're tiny and a woman. You have no tolerance. You're not used to the effects. I know, it was stupid. Tears pricked the back of my eyes. Jared shook his head. No, I didn't mean... You should have told me it was such a big deal for you. But I wanted to help you, and you said I was beautiful, and it was such a big deal for you. Shh. Jared pulled me into a hug. Is this okay? Not too much PDA? What the fuck is PDA? No one has told me what PDA means! I shook my head. This is fine. I needed this. Thank you for doing this for me, Hana. I nodded into his shoulder. But why was it such a big deal for you? He pulled away from me, looking me in the eyes. I guess after all of this, you deserve to know, don't you? The thing is... Hello, you two. The nurse showed up out of nowhere and made a beeline right for me. Terror flooded through me. If he found out that I was drunk, my entire scholarship would be in jeopardy.
Are you feeling alright?
Jeopardy was misspelled there, wasn't it? I was in the audience and saw you fall. Are you alright? It looked quite painful. I'm fine. I held my breath, too terrified to speak, suddenly self-conscious of my every action. If only I could get a hold of how I was moving, then it wouldn't be apparent, right? I glanced at Jared, who was looking at creeps with as much fear as I was. I'll do a quick checkup on your leg, just to make sure. He bent down in front of me and I tweaked my ankle. Do you feel anything there? No. His head shot up and he gave me a very strange look. Then do you feel this? He tapped the top of my knee. No. He gave me a sharp look. Speak to me again. I clamped my mouth shut and shook my head. Creeps placed his head next to mine, looking eye to eye with me. What is your name? Hana Mizuno? I see. He stepped away from me. And who snuck alcohol into the school? I froze and stared at him, eyes wide. I can smell it on your breath. What? What? What should I do? I couldn't tell him it was mine, but if I said that, it was me. My scholarship. My thoughts were slow and sluggish, like I was trying to hold onto wet rubber balls, but dropping them into a muddy stream. I feel it's decision time. Not going to tell me? I drew in a deep breath. It was... I did it. Jared stood up next to me, and my jaw dropped open. Jared! I did it, I'm sorry. Mr. McPasta frowned. Jared, we're going to the headmaster's office.
Miss Mizuno.
I know what kind of situation you're in. Go straight to your room to sober up. Try not to get caught by anyone else on the way there. I don't know that they'd be as lenient as I am being. He looked regretful for the moment. Then, if you really are under so much stress, you should come see me. There are healthier ways you could learn how to deal with this. Tears filled my eyes, but I said nothing. Well then, come with me, Jared. Jared shot me one last look, but it was not what I expected to see. He didn't seem angry. He didn't look sad. Instead, he seemed urgent, as if he were saying, "Get out of here." He wasn't even worried about himself. I wiped the tears from my face, then stood from my chair. If I left out of the back door and walked quickly, I could make it in time. I made it to the room without incident, but as I walked in and shut the door, I collapsed on the ground. I was so tired. Why was I so tired?
Oh, no.
Maya rushed to my side. I saw you fall, but they wouldn't let me backstage again. Are you okay? Mama, Jared got in trouble.
What?
Tell me what happened. I told her about how Jared took the fall for her and for me, my tears making it difficult to talk. Jared did that? For me? For you? What are we going to do?
I don't know.
I don't know. Look, you're in no shape to be thinking about this. I'm not sure there's anything we can do. She lifted me by the arm and led me to my bed. Don't worry about anything. She handed me a full glass of water. Drink. I obeyed. Good. Now sleep this off. I'm sure by the time you wake up, things will have restabilized themselves somehow. I nodded. Mai helped me into my PJs and I crawled under my covers. I was so tired, my eyes were so heavy. I just wanted to forget all this all happened.
Hana.
Hana? Someone's at the door. I think you should answer it. I sat up groggily. Then suddenly a sharp pain struck my head. Oh my god. My stomach felt raw, like it was set on fire, and was trying to return to normal functioning. It was nausea, but the most burning form of nausea I ever experienced. Oh gosh, are you hungover? Never mind, that can wait till later. Answer the door. I pulled on some clothes, making each movement with care so as not to upset my stomach even further. Across the room, and after a cursory glance in the mirror, opened the door.
Hana.
Jared, why did you do that? Why did you take the blame? You have a perfect reputation. You're gonna get so much trouble, and it's fine. Creeps and I made up a story that I snuck alcohol backstage to cope with the pressure from the show. You said that's why I didn't perform in the first place. They didn't say anything about you or any of the other students. I still got in trouble, but because of my perfect reputation, they're most likely letting it slide. White privilege! That's bullshit! I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. But why? You were in trouble, and I
don't know.
I did it on impulse. I guess I wanted to protect you. And I did. I could tell he was smiling weakly under the bag, but as my own anxiety faded, I noticed how lethargic he seemed. I stepped onto the hallway with him and shut the door behind me. What's wrong? You can tell something is bothering me. Is it obvious even through the bag? I don't think it's obvious, but... He sighed. Let's go for a walk. We stepped into the night air. I remember how just a few weeks earlier, I was out on another night running from Jared in fear. It was then that I found out that he had a terrible secret. But now was he going to tell me another one? We walked in silence for a while. Jared had his hands in his jacket pockets. I imagine his hands were warmer than my own, but I was glad that my hands were cold. It distracted me from the pounding in my head. It's about my family. I might have mentioned that I was raised to know a lot about the traditional Japanese arts. That's true, my family is well known. Well, you'd know. My family's name isn't Nobinbauer, it's Nadeshiko. Nadeshiko? Okay, I'm pretty sure that little piece of information is for the game only, because I'm pretty sure that's not real information. I stopped in my tracks. The Nadeshiko? Isn't that the name of the Nadeshiko School of Traditional Japanese Arts, founded in 1644? We've been around for hundreds of years, pioneers in the traditional forms of dance, calligraphy, flower arrangement, adornment, kendo, and yes, tea ceremonies. The Nadeshiko School of Traditional Japanese Arts. Among artisans, it was known primarily as the Institute. My parents talked about it all the time in the shop. My mom wanted to get into class there, had even been saving up before she got sick. My dad always looked to their designs for inspiration when arranging the flower displays. Each spring, when the new designs came out, the name floated around the dining room table for weeks. And here was the apparent flesh and blood of the Institute itself, standing right before me. But you're... Too rebellious and free-spirited to ever be tamed by ancient tradition and a distinguished family name? I know. I was going to say white. As you would expect, being raised with such a history, I was expected to carry on the family name and not besmirch our reputation. My birth kinda already ruined that, though. Is that why your last name is Namenbauer? He nodded. My father took a mistress, my mother. I took her name because she was never allowed to have his. But my father died, and my mom, through a series of events, was incorporated as a head of one of the branches. She thinks if I can behave well enough, eventually I will be accepted and allowed to run a branch of the school, if not the whole thing. I'll be rich, we'll be set for life, we'll have the fame and prestige we've deserved. She'll finally be acknowledged by her husband's, lover's family. I think to her, it's what she needs to feel she can see him again after she dies.
Jared.
Right? So it's a lot of pressure. I've been expected to be perfect my whole life, and when you're as naturally flawless as me, it's not too hard, but it can be demanding. Failure isn't tolerated. Loss of image isn't tolerated. I don't think I've had a true friend until coming here and meeting the Normal Boots Club. It took years to convince my mother to let me come here. Only the prestige of the academy saved me. I was able to have fun here. All the ceremonies and shows I did, all the tournaments and announcements, and even my girlfriends. He glanced at me sheepishly. Sorry. For the first time, maintaining an image was half work and half fun, but now I guess all that work meant nothing. He stared wistfully at the night sky. The headmaster is going to call my mother, and she's going to find out. Maybe she'll be able to keep it under wraps. I don't know, my mom can be very scary, ruthless even. But it'll definitely get around the school, and from there, well, my image is ruined. He sighed. It's weird, I've worked for my entire life, some 17 years, to keep this up. I couldn't tell if I hated it or loved it. But now that it's ruined, I feel kind of relieved. Jared, you threw away so much because of me.
No.
Hey, stop. I'm not telling you this to make you feel bad, but, well, now you know. He rubbed his arms, and I could tell he was smiling under his bag. It's cold, what do you say we go inside? We returned to the girls' dorm, making our way slowly to my room. I didn't know what to say. The truth of Jared's upbringing, the entirety of what he sacrificed by accepting the blame, it was too much for me to process. It definitely wasn't making my headache any better. We reached my room, and Jared shuffled awkwardly.
Well...
Then, I guess... I put a hand to my mouth. I felt really weird. My headache was getting worse. My stomach was burning even more. Hana, are you okay? He put my hand on my forehead, looking at me with concern. I don't feel... Oh no. He pulled me by the arm, sprinting down the hall. Hold it in! Hold it in! Hold it in! Please hold it in! We flew into the bathroom. Jared practically threw me into a stall. Just in time. As Jared gathered my hair in his hands, I vomited like I'd never vomited before. Ah, isn't this nice?
No!
No! Ugh. Jared chuckled quietly. We've gotten ourselves into one hell of a mess, haven't we? He tenderly rubbed my back. I was embarrassed, horribly embarrassed, but I was also beyond the point of feeling that embarrassment. I just wanted it to end. I guess everyone will hate me now.
What?
Well, I'm not what I pretended to be. Well, I'm not what I pretended to be. People liked me because I was perfect. Now that I'm not, that's not true. But it'll be interesting how it turns out, won't it? He chuckled again. I don't like to admit it, but I'm scared. He's scared. Whew. When I was done, I kicked him out of the bathroom and cleaned myself up. It was horrifying that he saw me like that, but at the same time, I was more preoccupied with what he was going through to worry about something so comparatively small. After giving up so much for me, what made seeing me throw up a big deal? I washed my mouth out and borrowed someone's tube of toothpaste before returning to the hall. Jared was waiting for me in front of my door.
All right.
So I guess this is goodbye now. I nodded sheepishly.
Jared.
Thank you. No, I should be thanking you. Things have been changing for me ever since I met you. Without you, He stopped himself. Anyway, thank you. He turned and left. I watched him go, guilt mingling with gratefulness in my empty stomach. I returned to my room, once again feeling exhausted. Maya turned over in her bed to look at me, but instead talking to me, she smiled. I smiled back at her, and she turned over again. She probably knew that I didn't want to talk about it. I changed back into my pajamas and climbed to my bed, trying to think of ways to help Jared. His relationship with his mother seemed so difficult. If my father was like that with me, there was no way I'd be able to do anything. The only reason I was here was because my father supported and cared about me so much. Even if his mother had those expectations, didn't she know they were unreasonable? Maybe it was naive of me, but I thought maybe if he could talk to her honestly and tell her how he felt. But then would that even do anything? Oh snap, chapter 4, we're in the final chapter, what, final chapter, what, final chapter, okay, I'll stop. I was not eager to head to the class the next day. The fashion show now, combined with my glorious encore immediately following, filled me with embarrassment and horror. I walked through the doors of Poppy Hall so early that morning I didn't even think Mai was awake. Consequently, the halls were mostly deserted, excepting the odd student who looked away when they saw me coming. I reached the door of my classroom with a sigh before an odd flicker of movement caught my eye. And Jared was standing behind a row of lockers. And then another one further down the hall. Wait, what? Like this, he darted between locker groups, heading for the staircase to the 3rd floor.
Jared.
He jumped. Well, yes, Hana! Oh, Hana, it's just you! He put a hand over his heart, wheezing. Thank God it's just you. How are you? He leaned against a neighboring wall, flipping his hair dramatically. I'm fine?
Nice.
That's great. There was a creak down the hall as the stairwell door opened. Students were now starting to trickle into hallways, and Jared followed them with his eyes. Yeah, I was thinking that. Along the lines of that. Ugh. I agree. Right? Yeah. Jared, I'm not saying anything.
Perfect.
How wonderful. Irritated, I grabbed his chin with my hands and turned him to face me.
Hey.
Jared, come back down to earth, please. Nobody is going to be thinking about you. A few students passed by, whispering and giggling. Jared sighed. If that doesn't look like they're talking about me, what does? You think anybody was talking about you at that rate? All they would have to be doing was talking. You can't tell me no one is seriously going to be talking about how Jared, the model student, is secretly an alcoholic. I wrinkled my nose. He had a point, was the thing. But also sounded so arrogant. The world doesn't revolve around you. Damn! Cue in the memes. I know that. What kind of idiot do you take me for? I'm not saying you're an idiot. Jared glanced at the door again and he paled. I looked over my shoulder.
Good morning.
Oh, hey, Satch, what's up?
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. What's up? Good to see you two survive. He is macking on your girl, Jared. Damn. He grinned broadly. I chuckled, but Jared shoved his hands into his pockets. Anyway, Jared. I understand I won't talk to... Don't forget about meeting after school tonight. We want everybody to be there. You too, Hana.
Yeah.
Got it. I saluted. Satch waved and went on his way.
What?
But see, I told you so.
I'll see you around.
Hana, I've got to talk to him. I'll see you later. Jared followed Satch up to their classroom, no doubt about to probe him for his opinion on what occurred the night before. I wonder whether he'd tell the truth to them about this alcohol or whether he'd stick with his original story. Would he tell them about me throwing up? Oh, jeez. I went to the class hiding my face from people around me, but the conversation I heard... Okay, I'm going to take this change of scenery as a good point to stop the episode for today. So, yep, this is Firemac saying bye-bye. See you next time.